Electric Dreams is beautifully produced. If you like sci-fi. If you don't like sci-fi, you're not gonna really like it at all. That's what I'm here for.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
But I just started last week, so it's not going to be tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
That's okay. As long as it's some.
It will 100% be sometime. In fact, if it's not, I will probably be fired.
Okay.
I mean, it legitimately is like 50% of my job to do that. So give me a little while.
Well, I just, it's just one. Yeah. Yeah. 2,600. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Hi, Courtney. I don't think I sent hello to you this morning.
Way to stop all the conversation, Ruth.
I was just saying it's so quiet at the state library. I feel like I have broken a little bit. That's okay. You don't have to reply to that because you're diplomatic and fine.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, Britta. There's also nothing like turning the microphone for everyone to sit.
I can tell you a story if you want. Just kidding. I mean, unless you really want me to, and then I'm not kidding.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Sherry. This is my first meeting.
Hi, Sherry. Hi, Sherry.
And I'm Andrea Steinbeck. This is my first meeting. So, well, it's 10 o'clock. So I'm going to call to order. And we can do a roll call. Start with Ruth.
I'm Ruth from the Indiana State Library, and this is also my first meeting.
Welcome back, Ruth.
Hello, I don't know who said that. Was it you, Britta?
Yes.
Thank you.
And like I said, I'm Andrea Steinbeck. I'm the director of the Fulton County Public Library. This is my first meeting. I'm Lori Long, chair here, work at Morgan County Public Library.
I'm Victoria Ferguson. I'm with the Noble County Public Library.
Emily Fox, Director of Switzerland County Public Library.
Sherry Rissy, Director of Spencer County Public Library.
Mary Glazer from the Public Library.
Courtney Brown from the State Library. I'm Monica, I'm the Evergreen Indiana Coordinator, and we have Anita Brown, Kendallville Tech Services Manager. She's our executive guest. And then online, I know we've got Britta, Bob, Andrea Basinger, and Darcy Armstrong. That sound right to everybody?
And so everybody's had a chance to look at the agenda.
It's a short one this time.
Yep. Okay, could someone make a motion to approve the agenda? Second?
I'll second.
Okay. All approved? Aye. Aye. All right. And then everybody have a chance to look at the minutes.
I found one thing for Sherry's name is this title.
Okay.
An I, instead of an I. Or it should be an I instead of an I. It only shows on the print version of our digital copy.
Okay. Duly noted. All right. So, someone make a motion to approve the minutes? Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right. Okay, Indiana State Library report.
Actually, probably the big thing that is going on right now is we are in the process of changing up staff a lot. Ruth is of course joining us. She is our new training manager, so she's going to be doing all of the training getting online classes together finally, all that fun stuff.
I am going to do those things.
She's also serving as our development coordinator, so she'll be working with the development initiative to get public projects working. So she's putting the job half and half here in Indiana and half on the international front. And Jason Boyer, our sysadmin, resigned, and we should have a new sysadmin, last I heard, probably start end of October. So we are in a bit of a holding pattern on all things technological. We're, as far as making changes, some of the smaller stuff we're trying to keep up with, but this is going to slow down things like upgrades and so forth until the new person is up and familiar with how we do things here in Indiana. So that's really the big thing right now, is just we're adjusting on the staffing front.
Okay. Subcommittee reports.
Speaking of training, since you guys met last, the full series was presented. Attendance was poor, but everybody I talked to said it was useful, so hope they can have all right. And we'll be setting up fall trainings here for too long. So not another live set. Oh, and actually, I should back up and mention, we are fielding 3 migrations this fall. So we've got one yet this week, we have one on the 1st of October, and we have one that I still don't have final dates on. There's an issue with the project manager on that. And then there's a 4th we're looking at plugging in at the end of the year. So we have 4 more members for the end of 2019.
And what does that bring our number to?
Live, that will be everybody but Fortville, so 126.
And Fortville is the end of 2019 or someone else?
No, Putnam County is the one that would probably be in here. Fortville will take a little longer. They're about not quite halfway through recataloging their collection. So got some ground to cover yet. I anticipate probably all next year if they can keep their pace up.
So that's 126 by the end of the year with those other 4 added.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we tipped over the half the public libraries in the state and just kept galloping forward. So, and everybody wanted to come live this fall. Okay. Migration week, why not?
So we do magic.
But they are largely 2 out of the 4 are non-automated. So it's very low interruption for you guys. You don't have any freezes or anything. The other 2 will involve freezes, and we got those down to pretty short windows. So hopefully minimum of disruption and the maximum of new neighbors.
So I guess that brings us to unfinished business and the 2019 fall workshop.
Yep. And I talked to the cataloging committee. They're very excited about doing this collaborative thing. They have suggested either November 15th or 22nd. So those of you who have volunteered to help out with that, do you have a preference between those dates? Right now, the volunteers I have listed are Andrea Basinger, Darcy Armstrong, Lori Durbin, Sherry Reese. Is it Reese or Reese?
We say Rissy.
Rissy, okay. Regularly mispronounce it, and Mary. Britta, who's on this committee, will be presenting on the cataloger side, so she is also participating. The catalogers, we've got sessions on carts, item alerts, search strategies, and then we're going to prepare. We talked about this. haven't had a chance yet. Going to prepare some Q&A for anybody who'd be willing to serve on sort of an open discussion panel for about 20 to 30 minutes. Where we'll have catalogers on one side responding to why do we have to do this, and vice versa. Circulators. So, and in mind, does one of those two dates appeal more? 15 better for you? Excellent, that was the cataloger's first choice too.
Awesome.
All right. It's a very busy fall, and there's just so much going on with conferences and holidays and everything else. All right, and from our list, item alerts was on it. Reporting damage, street dates, and communication strategies. Did anybody want to push for that? Push for one of those categories? Take lead on it. We're looking at like 7 to 10 minutes. So, okay. So,
Can you say them again?
what we had down were item alerts, which Britta's already taking because she's handling it from both sides. Reporting damage, so how to communicate about damage and what constitutes all of that fun stuff. Street dates and just overall communications.
And what are you asking us to do? Look out, present?
Just if you would take the lead, looking at doing the sections will be 7 to 10 minutes. So if you've got 5 minutes that you want to present, and then we can take questions or discussion after that. Probably have multiple, rate this is shaping up. We are going to definitely have multiple people online who will be mic'd to jam with the discussion.
I can do communication.
Okay. And Darcy said she'll do communications with damage. So. The all importance can't ever have too much part of damage, right? All right. And you know, street dates might be a good one to actually throw in the panel.
I think so.
All right. Were there any other topics you guys specifically wanted to bring to this cooperative presentation? Questions that you've always wanted to ask a cataloger, never got around to it, had a cataloger you weren't willing to face down. I'm collecting questions here too, so it doesn't have to be a separate session. Just things that have not necessarily made sense or would be helpful to be clarified.
I think it's beneficial for frontline staff to just have a concept of things like certain modifiers and what they do, and you know what I mean, like the restricted ones and the all that stuff.
And that seems like that might be for a mini session.
Yeah, it can be kind of
Okay.
I mean, having recently gone through it and getting them to understand that no, you don't need to check ID to see if they're a certain age. There's ways the system does that for you. But, you know.
Right.
Now that there is a date, would it be worth in the publicity for this to gather questions from the whomever?
Sure.
Maybe a Google form or whatever.
Yep. For that.
However, yes.
I was gonna say, if you want to just take this over.
Yeah, I don't want to take anything over, but I would be willing to put that together and gather the data that people had to
Quite
use.
willing.
Okay.
Great. I think this is gonna be an interesting one. I haven't done anything like this, aside from the conference, across the aisle in quite a while, so. Thanks.
Anna, I know you already passed this, but what was the discussion about the street dates? I know Ruth, sorry.
Yeah, we just said we might put that in the Q&A section since it's not a terribly complex topic.
Okay, thanks.
And do we know where the workshops will take place?
It'll be a webinar, so I suppose I could check and see if there's a room at the State Library if people actually wanted to come downtown. But I know a lot of our presenters are going to be presenting from wherever they are.
Yeah, so
And the date on that again?
November 15th,
November the 15th. Okay.
and historically we've had our best luck starting at 10, 9 Central. So
Is this a 2-hour thing or a 4-hour thing
90 minutes to 2 hours.
for it in entirety?
Yeah, that's why, the goal is not to make this onerous for anybody that's trying to present. And historically, our workshops have only been about 45 minutes. With the exception of the one cataloging one, 3 or 4 ago, it ended up running to 2.5 hours.
Because of the Q&A?
No, just because there was that much stuff to it. Yeah. It was very, very detailed presentation. All right.
New business?
All right. This is actually a referral from the executive committee. There was a request, patron request, that we fix our notices. The challenge was that the patrons specifically wanted it to be clear in the notices whether or not his materials were going to be auto-renewed. There are a few challenges here. One, we can't guarantee that was going to happen. And 2, 66 member agencies have auto-renewal in place, the others do not. With that in mind, however, the executive committee felt like the language that currently appears has room for attention. So this is currently what shows specifically in the 3-day notice. So they asked for you guys to take a look, see if the language could be streamlined without becoming inaccurate. So that whether a library is fine-free or not, whether they're juvenile fine-free or not, whether or not they have auto renewals. We don't want to add to this necessarily or too much, because we don't want to add layers of confusion, but are there ways that we can rephrase this that would make it still reflect the fact that there are variable outcomes?
And this request from the patron referred to email notification or print notification, not to the automated phone stuff.
Right, we don't notify people over the phone, over due notices. I mean, you get a text, but it's got the same
Same
message.
text. Same text for the text.
Or an SMS.
So are you asking if we believe that it can be streamlined? Or if somebody to
If
take
the
the
answer
lead
is
on
it
it?
cannot be, I will take that back to the executive committee, they felt it could be.
I think that it can be.
Well,
My
that if
personal-
there are no other patrons who have placed holds on the items, that sounds pretty straightforward, but maybe that's confusing to people. I mean, I don't know.
Well, the other thing is too, it says, please return the above items to avoid overdue fines, depending on if they're a fine-free library or not. That's not gonna be an issue anyway. And this does not really address auto renewal at all.
Well, this language was written well before auto.
Of course, yeah.
Horizon even. So.
Can you say something, if, I'm not sure this is true or not, but on the due date, you will receive notice if your items have been renewed, which could be really confusing if you're a library that doesn't do that, but because you don't know that until the morning of the due date, you know what I mean? But it's the 3-day notice, I think, that's confusing for people. Because they're getting that and thinking they need to come in those 3 days, but it's somehow saying in there that they will be notified on the due date without making it too wordy, explaining. You know what I mean? I don't know, tricky. There's too many scenarios.
I mean,
Yeah,
can't
maybe
it
there
be-
should be 2 separate kinds of emails, one for those that renew, can't do that? Okay.
Unless somebody here wants to do it, which I'm all for, I'd be willing to work on the language. If we're keeping it, is it the length of this that we want to keep here?
We don't want it to necessarily be markedly longer.
No, absolutely not. But the entire text itself could change as long as it's within this.
I believe so.
Okay.
I mean, can it be something completely generic?
Sorry?
Can this notice be something completely generic? As far as our records indicate these items are due in 3 days. Please check your online account or contact your library for more details. I mean, just something completely generic.
Yeah, I mean, it's just telling them they're overdue.
I think between there and this, I think that there's room as far as, and I'm thinking characters and things, to put a little bit more detail in there, so that they're not like, whoa, I've never been in my online account before. Because we do have a lot of patrons who don't use that interface at all right now.
Even if you say.
Or contacts your library.
Contact your library for policies, including auto renewals, fines, etc. Something like that.
Can we do what Bob mentioned?
A link to a document explaining the process.
It could in some cases, but it is assuming that people are going to click on it
And that it's accurate,
and that it's accurate.
because you actually have to have the list in order for it to be helpful at all. And if the library changes their status and a person has an old copy of the document, then things add up.
Well, I like the really generic one, and could we put the website and the library's phone number with it?
If the library has provided, right now, a lot of newer units don't have, or have never added their library addresses to their library site. Maybe.
I know I said it once. It's not now.
So it's like, we should get this down.
Something about
Please
Going
check your
on
online
online
account or
account.
contact your library.
for more information.
More information. In the account, we have a link.
You may want to put after for more information, put something either regarding or about renewals.
But like some items may be eligible for auto renewal or something like that. Well, not all libraries use it. So.
Yeah, that's why I say.
Yeah.
What if
Possible
could, like,
renewals and-
if there are no other patrons who have placed holds on the items and your library account is in good standing, it may be, or they may be renewed. Instead of saying you may be able to renew them, the items just may in general may be renewed.
I have a question. Do we need to give them the good standing and other patrons stuff?
Well,
It's a policy thing.
when I explain it to patrons, I always say, if someone puts it on hold, then you might not be able to renew it, so you really need to check to make sure that it's been renewed. We have auto renewals. So I don't know, that's something that you have to remind them about, because otherwise they think, well, it automatically renews, I don't need to worry about it.
I'm not sure that we need the word patrons in there. Can it just say if there are holds on the item?
Yes.
And I don't think it does need to say is in good standing, because all library privilege is predicated on the idea that you're in good standing.
Should we include though, if there are holds available
Yeah.
for the item? Because sometimes, like, we have auto renewal and they can't remember how many times they can renew it.
Yeah.
I think the comment was made, rather than you may be able to renew them, your items may be eligible for renewal. Or something, that wasn't the exact language, but because some will auto renew and some will be manual renewal, and it will depend on the knowledge of the.
I feel like the more specific we're trying to make it, the less it's relevant to everyone. So maybe more general.
If there's just different renewal limits, different items, and obviously I'll get into that.
Right.
I don't want them reading it and thinking it's gonna just keep renewing as long as they're on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
That's why I would, if we're gonna do it, I would definitely use language, maybe.
yeah. And I think just saying, I think you cover yourself too by saying contact your local library for their policies regarding whatever, or just for their policies.
Right. Yeah, and this email doesn't need to be, I mean, it needs to be within policy, but it doesn't need to be an explanation of policy.
Right. Yeah. It tells them to call to get an explanation.
I like that.
Doesn't say how they're available, it just says they may be available.
So then, about the library information in the org unit settings. Perhaps it would be good to send out a reminder to the community, the consortium members, that they can do that.
I need to check and
Okay.
see if we can even feed them some messages
Okay,
before
fair.
too much of a thing of it.
Yep.
Although, I mean, it's something that shows up on your library information page anyway, so it doesn't hurt to have it.
Absolutely. I do like that that's shorter a lot. Would it be worth adding a link to the member libraries page off of? There's a list here of all of them, so they could just scroll down and find theirs if they didn't have. On the blog.evergreen.
It's a static link, easier to
And it would be applicable for everybody.
I do want to check though, because I think we might be able to call in specific.
Okay.
But
I am getting that org unit setting log, just saying. Not applicable to anything. No, you see it.
if can't pull library setting link, do you still want to have the contact your library for more information at the bottom? Or do we just want to leave the message at this?
I would be saying it again. Well,
Did you say if you can or if you can't?
If we can.
Can.
Because right now it says contact your library for more information. It pulls up the library's name. Actually, I should probably check. I used the notice that I got to pull this out. If anybody else has a preview notice that they have received recently, you might check and see if there's more information on it, because I may not have the consortium collection library fully configured, now that I think about it. We might actually already have them, maybe.
I'm looking at the text notice, so I don't know, would this be the exact same thing that would
It
go out
should be
text,
similar.
or- Yeah, because the text notice is just shorter. And it, I mean, all it has is the link to, you know, where you can go log in.
Okay.
It doesn't, yeah, just in the text notice.
Not a library.
Yeah.
Okay.
well, I got a auto renewal notification, so
Darcy, you see what Darcy just said?
Oh, okay. So it's got the name, address, and phone number. So,
I honestly, I think that we should still keep that information down at the bottom, because not everybody's going to want to click on that link. I know that I wouldn't, I would just want it to be right there. So I like still keeping whatever the circulating library is, or whatever it sends.
Where I live, we have 4 or 5 different evergreen libraries, so,
Yeah.
I mean, they can call any of them, but if they want to call that particular one.
Right.
And I just skip all heading stuff. You just go straight to the body
Yeah.
text, and then if I feel like I don't know a thing, then I may work backward, but I'm one of those patrons. Doesn't
what
read
have I
completely.
forgotten that I have typed out? All right. All right, are we okay with me taking this to EDC for approval? Do you think that needs a motion, or are you happy with just doing a consensus vote?
So I'm gonna make a motion to approve this language, sending it to the EC committee.
I'll make the motion.
In second. Okay. And so, if anyone disagrees, yell now. Okay, well, is there any announcements anyone would like to make?
Before that, I think that, did we actually do the vote?
Oh, yeah, okay, okay, yeah, approve, all approve? Aye. Okay,
I heard the name call.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Good question. Who's doing which things? Darcy, you're down for damage. Sherry's taking on communications, and Mary's gonna lead circ mods.
And street dates as a panel.
Street Day to be part of the panel. Speaking of which, though, we'll go backwards. Anybody feel strongly about being on the spot, answering things live? You'll have your questions in advance. Like actually make somebody. Yes, Ruth is going to collect, said she would collect questions from the community. Anybody feel opinionated?
I'll be there, but you know how I am with words. So my first. So I'll be happy to help. It just might not come out right.
Well, I guess if there's anybody extra, I know everybody that's going to be participating will probably weigh in on these things. So I don't expect everyone to have an answer for everything. I think some stuff's going to come up where we're like, this is pretty simple.
Yeah. The nice thing about a panel too is it's meant to be conversational. So if you misspeak, somebody next to you, quote unquote, is going to pick up where maybe you drop something and vice versa. So it's a pretty low key way to deal with the thing.
Yep.
Your words are just fine.
Bless your heart.
I know that.
I guess you could always say, I don't know the answer, but I'll get back with you.
Would not be the first time we've done follow-up for workshops.
How many people are you wanting on this panel? Or were you going to say?
Well, let's see, right now, looks like we've got 8 people.
Oh, okay. So 8 people already.
If everybody that's participating in the other sections is willing to
And have
kick in
they
and
been
answer
asked?
questions.
Is there an expectation that they're going to do that?
There wasn't a cataloging group.
Okay.
Anybody here, I guess 62 ladies in the room who will be presenting, who have concerns about answering on the fly.
I was gonna say I'm gonna pull Lauren in on it too.
Okay.
Because she's our cataloger and she's on the city.
That'll work.
Sort of like in between two of us.
Yeah, and she's already presenting with Sarah.
Okay.
So she's already committed to the workshop.
Is that Lauren?
With Pike.
Okay, so announcements. The next, yeah, the next meeting will be December 17th here at Greenwood at 10 o'clock.
Barring weather or what have
Stay tuned. Okay, so anyone making a motion to adjourn the meeting? Second? Okay. Okay, meeting adjourned.
Bye, everyone.
Hi, Darcy, I've got all of the moves in seconds, so I can send you.
That was a quick meeting.
It was very quick.
Last one was so long.
I never know. So we get right up to the meeting. How long we're gonna take.